We are approaching March, and for college hoop fans and gamblers alike, there's nothing quite like the madness associated with the month of March as it pertains to college basketball. Brandon's off screen. His jumper is looking really good. He seems to be warming that up. All right. Welcome to Two for Your Money. Glad you're here. And if you like the show, don't forget, hit subscribe and follow us across all social media. Then you'll get notified each and every time a new show drops. Steve Budin here, legend in my own mind, owner and operator of the largest sports betting analysis company in the world. And I'm joined each and every week by my partner in crime, the always entertaining, reigning heavyweight handicapping champion of the world. You know who I'm talking about. It's Brandon Lang. What's up, champ? Let's see that form.
Local Y kid was talking a little trash. I said, let's play Yo Mama, $50 a letter. He says, fine, not thinking anything bad's going to happen. He had Yo Mama. I had Yo. Added up 5 times 50. Quick 250. Jumper was on, baby. Jumper was on.
So many sports gambling podcasts out there to choose from. And I can honestly say none are like this one. Nowhere will you find two better opinions that come from two more opposite sides of the track. Brandon, hands down, the most well-known handicapper in the industry. Love him or hate him, he's a household name. But only if that house is filled with the type of gamblers that all became millionaires, even if they started as billionaires. Me, on the other hand, former bookmaker, creator of the offshore and online sports betting industry. For 20 years, I made my money on the dark side, taking the bets. But for the last 20 years, I joined forces with you, the gambler. And the rest, my friends, is history. Okay, B, before we get into this week's highlighted hoop picks, got to get your opinion on this. Let's talk a little Las Vegas. We always do that in the first segment. Sunny place for shady people. You lived there for a decade. I worked there for over a decade. And when it comes to gambling and overall entertainment, and now sports too, it's nothing short of the center of the universe. Let's talk about the Las Vegas Raiders. They just brought in Pete Carroll as their head coach. So after 14 years with the Seahawks and then a 10-month sabbatical, Carroll is now back in the saddle, this time as a Las Vegas Raider. Now, the Raiders haven't won a playoff game since 2002. Carroll's their 15th head coach in that span. Brandon, at 73 years old, is Carroll too old or just what the doctor ordered?
I'm excited to see what happens here. Among the hires across the NFL, don't think Aaron Glenn's a good fit in New York, especially when his defense gave up 100 in the playoffs to Washington. Ironically, interesting, Ben Johnson leaves Detroit and goes to a division rival, the Chicago Bears. Interesting dynamic there. Maybe Dan Campbell and him aren't as tight as everybody thinks. But this Pete Carroll hire, we know he loves the running game. We know he loves defense. But are the pieces there for him to do anything with? Gerard Mayo took over from Belichick, thought he had the pieces. That collapsed. So I'm excited to see what Pete Carroll will do. To me, you got to have a quarterback.
Yeah.
There's lots of rumors of quarterbacks flying there. Aaron Rodgers, hot rumor right now, going out west to Vegas. So for me, I'm anxious to see what he's going to do, but I'm anxious to see what he's going to do at the quarterback position because you know and I know. You ain't got a quarterback, you ain't doing nothing in the NFL.
No, football is still in every single way a game of quarterbacks. Interesting that one of our favorite quarterbacks, Tom Brady, is part of the mix out there in Vegas now. And to me, this is part of what he brings to the table, that changing of the culture. I think him wanting that big coach in there, the fish stinks from the head down. I think it all starts with the head, and the next step clearly is a quarterback step. We'll have to see what happens. It's an exciting town. They deserve a good football team. We'll see if they can bring that to fruition. A quick left turn to the world of professional wrestling. The Nature Boy, Ric Flair, just celebrated his 76th birthday. Nothing short of a tumultuous personal life as he battled his demons in front of everyone. However, in the wrestling ring, he was nothing short of legendary. Brandon, were you a fan of Rick?
Is he the woo? Is he the woo guy?
He's the woo guy. He is the woo guy.
All
right. Clearly.
About as much as I know about wrestling is Hulk Hogan go against Rocky.
Right.
You and I talked off camera about you would have lost everything thinking B had to be a big wrestling guy.
I even would have thought you might have been a wrestler, but okay, I guess I was wrong about that.
just couldn't get into it. Although the big sexy, I met Nash at a dinner in LA with the producer Jay Cohn, who produced Two for the Money. I will tell you this, one of the top 3 funniest guys I ever met in my entire life was Nash.
Right.
I mean, some of the stories he had, I was on the floor of the restaurant, Mastro's in Beverly Hills, on the floor crying with what this man came with. So, no, I wasn't, but I know Ric Flair. I think he's from the Detroit area, not sure, being from Michigan. I know he's a Pisces like me. Yours truly turns 62 tomorrow. So, no, I don't. But I'm a fan of Ric Flair.
Yeah, so I'm 13 years old, and I go to the Miami Beach Convention Center on vacation, and my friend Big D, who was like 20, was head of security at the convention center, and they had the wrestling, going on at the time. And Ric Flair, and I'm like a huge fan of Dusty Rhodes. He was my guy. And Ric Flair's fighting Dusty Rhodes in a steel cage match. And I'm watching Abdullah the Butcher and SD Jones and all these guys beforehand. And Big D comes out to my seats, and he goes, "Hey, boy," he goes, "you want to meet Flair and Dusty?" And I'm like, "What? Yeah, that would be amazing." So he takes me, and like I'm a wide-eyed 13-year-old. I still believe this shit is real, right? So like, and these guys are about to have a steel cage match, pretty much fight to the death, and they get all bloody and everything in there. And he brings me to the back, right, to the dressing room. And there's Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes sitting at a table, drinking beers and playing cards. And as a 13-year-old, like, it was the worst moment of my life. Yeah. It was like when they told you that Santa Claus wasn't real. And I almost went back to my seat dejected, like, what am I even doing here? You know what I mean? And it was just, it was the worst possible thing that anybody could do. Yeah. But from that point on, I kind of realized what was going on. But I was a big wrestling fan, big Ric Flair fan. Anyway, moving right along, before we get into that thing that everybody came for, the weekly free pick winners, let's do what we do on this show that no other sports gambling show does. Let's take a look around the country and discuss what the fuck is going on. And there's so much going on, B. But let's play a little multiple choice game, okay? This is going to be fun. I'm going to lay out some fun facts here, some stats, right? Some statistics.
Okay.
You tell me in the end if I'm talking about the NBA or the NFL. You ready?
Okay.
36 of them have been accused of spousal abuse. 7 have been arrested for fraud. 19 have been accused of writing bad checks. 117 have directly or indirectly bankrupted a company, at least 2 companies, sorry. 3 have done time for assault. 71, I repeat, 71 can't get a credit card due to their bad credit. 14 have been arrested on drug-related charges. 8 have been arrested for shoplifting. 21 currently are defendants in lawsuits, and 84 have been arrested for drunk driving. And I ask you again, NFL or NBA?
I mean, listen, NBA's got 12 on a roster. I'd say of all those numbers, you probably got, there's probably 50% of NBA players have some shadiness that you just repeated. So based on 52-man rosters in the NFL, I got to go NFL. Makes a lot more sense to me. I mean, I can name probably off the top of my head 10 guys that fit that wholeheartedly. So I'd say NFL.
All right. The answer is neither. It's the 435 members of the United States Congress. And if that doesn't blow your mind,
no way.
If that doesn't blow your mind as an American, then you will start to now maybe understand why Trump's got, Elon Musk and Doge and trying to root out all corruption. Wow. Yeah, we are a shady government, and that's why both sides hated Trump, right? That's why Republicans and Democrats all try to take this man down. It's because he represents the last line of defense. You know what I mean? So yeah, I thought that would kind of interest you.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a shocker. All right, guys, it is that time now. The time that you've all been waiting for. Here come the winners. It's this week's free picks. But remember, free picks are just that, free picks. For your best chance to win, grab that all-access pass and premium plays from all the top handicappers in the country. That's what I do, and that's what you should do too. Okay, let's get down to business. College basketball games on the docket, so it's time. Let's go head-to-head with your bookie. And I just want to remind everybody, it is Thursday. It is Friday. What day is it today?
Thursday.
Thank God. All right, it is Thursday, and I don't need a drug test. It is Thursday, and therefore the lines have not come out yet, so not many places could do this live, talk about games that are going to occur on Saturday on a Thursday. But Brandon, one of the best in the country at not just predicting the winners, but predicting the actual upcoming lines. He was dead on once again last week. I expect he will be the same today. First up, college basketball Saturday. Number 1 Auburn at number 17 Kentucky. It's a 1 p.m. Eastern start. Brandon, give me the potential line of that game and the winner.
I have to believe Auburn's going to come in here somewhere in the neighborhood of I think the posted line I sent you is 6-8, I believe. Coming off a 30-point win at home against Ole Miss. Kentucky goes on the road, gets a big-time victory over Oklahoma. They were laying 3, only won by 1. I had to play on Oklahoma at home +3, getting them off the bubble. Now Kentucky comes back home. They have some impressive quad 1 wins this year. They've beaten Duke this year, which is pretty damn surprising. And now they're back home here. I think they can stand toe-to-toe with Auburn here. And I like the home dog, Kentucky Wildcats. I don't know if they can pull off the outright upset, but I like them here to get it done at home, +2 points.
All right, next up, number 10, Texas Tech at Kansas. You had mentioned you thought Kansas would be a 2.5 to 4 point favorite. It's a 2 p.m. Eastern start. Who do you like?
We could have bet everything we owned, literally, when Kansas had their worst loss ever under Bill Self on the road. And they came back home last Saturday off the worst loss in his career, laying 14 to Oklahoma State. And I think they won by 40 after the embarrassment of Bill Self. Now home here. This is a big time ball game. Texas Tech had their signature win on the road at Houston earlier this year. Houston returned the favor this week by beating them in Texas Tech. I just think Kansas matches up well with Texas Tech, and I'm going to lay the number at home with the Jayhawks.
All right. Number 6, Alabama is at number 5, Tennessee. Brandon, you told me you thought Tennessee would be a 3 to 4.5 point favorite. It's a 4 p.m. Eastern start. Which way you going in this one?
Alabama can score. I think they've won over 100 5 or 6 times this year. The problem is they don't play defense. And they're going to go into Tennessee here, and they're going to get defended. And boy, they're going to get defended. Let me tell you what Tennessee's capable of. They went in to Florida, number 1 team in the rankings, undefeated for the year, and lost to Florida by 30. In the rematch, they locked Florida down. Good night, beat them by double digits. Alabama's got some height. Tennessee's got the D. Big win at Texas A&M earlier this week. I'm going to roll with Tennessee at home, minus the point over the Crimson Tide.
All right, and finally, we have Gonzaga. Brandon, you had it at about 5.5 to 7 point favorites at San Francisco. It's a late game. It's an 11 p.m. Eastern start. It is what we call the bailout game of the night. Who do you like in this one?
In the spirit of our man, Bill Russell, who played the San Francisco Dons. Dons' big road win. They were a dog on the road in the conference at Oregon State, went outright. No look ahead to this game here. Gonzaga went on the road, got a big win against Santa Clara. But St. Mary's is going to win that conference, not Gonzaga. Gonzaga has fallen back a little bit. Everybody's sleeping on San Francisco. They're talking about Gonzaga. They're talking about St. Mary's. They're talking about Santa Clara. Don't sleep on the Dons. I'm going to take them here plus the points at home to shock the world and win the game outright.
Brandon, as we start the month of March as a gambler, how important is it to build that momentum now, to build that bankroll? So aren't gamblers a lot like athletes where they want to be playing their best going into the most important part of the season? As a college basketball bettor, obviously we're heading into the most important part of the season. How important is it, bankroll, money management, ratings, playing these games right now? How important is it to get off to the right start?
Steve, I've won big 3 of the last 4 Marches, and for me, this is the best time of the year. It's my best sport. I make no bones about it. You have this week closes out the regular season, and then you have your small conference tournaments next week. Then the week after that, you got the Big East, Big 12, Big 10, SEC, all the big conferences, and that goes right into March Madness, CBI, CIT, NIT, the big show. Steve-O, I got to tell you, as a sports handicapper, the best time to make money in the entire year is over the next month in college basketball, because there's so many games, so many lines. I'm telling you, this is the time to make some money.
And the interesting thing I can tell you as a former bookmaker is the volume is high at this point, right?
Yeah.
And you've got a lot of, as we get closer to the tournament and into the tournament, you'll have a lot of guys that are, well, to use a friendly term, layman's, right? Squares, guys that are just interested in the tournament. They're not really betting all year round. They're not really bettors, but they're throwing some money out because everyone's watching it. Everyone's doing it. They're going out to sports bars. They're betting their alma maters. It's alumni. It's all kinds of fans. And in that heavy volume of not what I would call sharp action, sometimes you can have lines that move based on public opinion and not based on some type of syndicate or sharp bettor that's coming in on a game. And when that happens, even a 1.5 to 2 point differential in the real line and the actual line that's being dealt can make all the difference in the world if you're aware and understand it in that loop and know when lines move, whether that's a sharp move or whether that's a general population move. Would you agree with that?
Completely. If a line goes from, let's say the opening line in the NCAA tournament comes out, and I think that it's announced on Sunday, and then late Monday, the lines come out. And then if you see a line go from 4 immediately to 6, that's a sharp move. That means a sharp hit. It's a bad line. They just put out a bad line. If it gradually moves over Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that's a public move based on the hype. So that's something to keep eye on. Also, last year, the UConn Huskies were your national champion. They went 6-0 throughout the NCAA tournament. They faced Purdue. They went 5-0 throughout the NCAA tournament. 11-0, the 2 number 1 seeds, to the championship game where UConn won it. There will be a couple teams that are going to go undefeated into the Final Four. It's my job to find out who they are and make you some money.
Absolutely. You don't want to be going into this time of the year without a guide, without an advisor. Brandon, myself, we have a whole website, twoforyourmoney.com. Get with the hot handicapper. One of the greatest things about the website, Brandon, is everything, whether you buy a pick or not, you get to follow the streaks. And I always believe, just like I said earlier, that handicappers and gamblers are a lot like athletes in that when they're hot, you want to ride them. And we give you the ability to see that on the website. You follow the hot handicapper and also the guy that traditionally and historically has done well, with college basketball in the month of March. You alluded to it earlier. You're usually one of the hottest handicappers in the country during March. I hope I don't jinx you now. I hope you have a great, I'm sure you'll have a great season. It's not a jinx. It's not a luck thing. It's studying and know-how. I get it. And there's the form. And there it is.
There it is.
All right, so that'll do it for this week. Don't forget, follow us and hit subscribe and like us. And make sure you go to twoforyourmoney.com and grab the free 2-day all-access pass. And we'll see you next week. For Brandon Lang, I'm Steve Budin, and we are Two for Your Money.